Ahoj, ja som lektorka Kika a ty počúvaš podcast Prakticky anglicky. Mojím cieľom je pomôcť ti na tvojej ceste k plynulej angličtine a ukázať ti, že učenie sa jazykov je skrátka lifestyle. Tak čo, si ready? Zdravím ťa, milá študentka, milý študent angličtiny. Dneska sa počujeme pri cestovateľských denníkoch USA časť 2. Konečne som sa k tomu dostala a dala teda dokopy tento podcastík. No a musím upozorniť, že toto je časť 2. To znamená, že ak si nepočula predošlú epizódu USA časť 1, určite odporúčam vypočuť si ju ako prvú, pretože na seba nadväzujú a bude si to dávať značne lepší zmysel. Ako obyčajne na mojom blogu nájdeš prepis alebo teda transkript tejto podcastovej epizódky. Link na tento blog nájdeš v popise. Má to slúžiť ako taká pomôcka pri počúvaní pre lepšie porozumenie a v prípade, že by si nerozumela nejaké anglické slovíčko a chcela by si ho dohľadať a preložiť, tu vidíš v tom blogu, ako sa píše, tiež tam nájdeš nejaké fotečky z mojich ciest, takže určite to čekni. Sama veľmi rada počúvam o dobrodružstvách v krajinách okolo sveta a preto som sa rozhodla priniesť ti teda niečo obdobné. No a epizóda je nahovorená v anglickom jazyku. V niektorých prípadoch aj vysvetľujem nejaké slovné spojenia, ktoré mi prídu ťažšie, alebo dávam tam teda synonymický výraz, ale určite táto epizóda nie je pre úplných začiatočníkov vhodná. No a predtým, ako začneme, si musím odbaviť aj takéto povinnosti, to znamená, nezabudni mi hodiť odber a hviezdičky, ak sa ti môj podcast páči, aby sa dostal na Spotify do popredia a mohlo ho počúvať ešte viacej študentov. No a na mojej webovej stránke si tiež môže zdarma stiahnuť e-book Denníčkovanie, moja veľmi obľúbená aktivita na precvičovanie si angličtiny. Prípadne, ak si maturant, maturantka, tak si môže stiahnuť sprievodcu pre maturantov celkom zadarmo. Všetky odkazy nájdeš v popise. And without further ado, let's get started. I don't remember much about our arrival in Hawaii, specifically Oahu, Honolulu, but I do remember having to take a taxi because the bus driver told us we couldn't board with our large suitcases. It was odd since we were at the airport, and who travels without luggage, right? Anyway, we ended up taking a taxi, and our driver, a lady, shared that life in Hawaii is incredibly expensive for locals, leading her to juggle multiple jobs just to get by. However, as a tourist, I was surprised to find that, except for the flight tickets, prices were relatively normal. Nevertheless, the taxi rides and first glimpses of this paradise felt amazing. We stayed in an Airbnb above a Korean restaurant. It wasn't fancy, but it was affordable and had the essentials, including air conditioning. In Hawaii's hot and humid weather, sunscreen and a hat were a must, unless you wanted a terrible sunburn. The Korean restaurant seemed fancy, but truth be told, we didn't enjoy our meal there. We even had to wear leather jackets inside because it was so cold. We met up with a friend who had flown in from his summer job through Turo. It is like Airbnb but for cars. We rented a Mustang, making us feel so independent, with the added bonus of it being a convertible. Convertible means that the roof of the car can be folded or opened. This allowed us to lower the roof and drive around Hawaii. I highly recommend renting a car, as it's the best way to navigate the island and explore both popular attractions and lesser known local spots. Having a car allows you to visit the places you really want to see, including some off the beaten path restaurants that may not be as touristy. Off the beaten path means something that is private or quiet. Our trip began with a leisurely, chill walk from our accommodation to a nearby blue lagoon, a shallow pool of ocean water surrounded by a park with palm trees and those typical Hawaiian flowers. We couldn't resist taking a dip, going for a short swim. And as we soaked in the surroundings, the realization that we had made it to Hawaii slowly sank in. It was truly unbelievable and unexpected. To this day, I find it hard to comprehend that at the age of 20, I was able to travel to such a distant location from Slovakia. Our first hiking adventure took us to the Diamond Head Trail, leading to the top of an old volcano and offering breathtaking views of Honolulu. However, the hikes in Hawaii are on a whole different level due to the constant heat. In other words, because it is so hot. We wrapped up our day at the famous Waikiki beach, grabbing a quick meal from McDonald's and keeping a close eye on our belongings, on our things. There were warnings about theft on Waikiki, and while we saw some sketchy individuals paying attention to our things, ensured that everything was absolutely fine. We snapped, we took a ton of photos during our time in Hawaii. I am a photography enthusiast in my free time and my friend is a videographer. It was incredibly fun and the surroundings were so captivating to capture, a totally new experience for me. Another day, another tough hike on the Coco Crater Trail. This one was all my challenging with an old railroad track where you climb using wooden beams. Some parts had no support underneath, making it even trickier. Despite the heat and the steepness, we saw people casually, without any problems, running up and down as part of their daily training, I guess. The view from the top was fantastic, overlooking a bay with turquoise water, where we snorkeled actually the next day, as well as buildings and another old crater. Note to self, bring at least 1.5 liters of water per person. One bottle wasn't enough and it was empty by the time we reached the top. As for food, we enjoyed typical dishes like fish, prawns, rice, noodles with sauce, and various Asian-style meals. I had my first ramen and gyoza there, which were absolutely perfect. Lots of exotic fruits, coconuts, and such. Nothing too fancy, but it hit the spot. We explored the coast by car, stopping at less crowded beaches. Each turn revealed more beauty, changing sand colors, misty mountains, diverse landscapes, and rocky terrains. Just hanging around there is an unforgettable experience. One of my friends went scuba diving as well. The goal was to swim with the turtles, and they managed to find them. He said it was awesome. My other friend and I did not dare to do that. Lastly, we couldn't miss visiting Pearl Harbor, an important historical site. We took a boat ride around the sunken remains of ships from World War II. Definitely worth seeing, really. The only regrets I have is not exploring the other islands of Hawaii. Taking a boat ride isn't an option. You have to catch a short flight from Honolulu. Unfortunately, we didn't have the time for that, but maybe next time, I guess. Now, moving on to the second part of this podcast, Los Angeles. Honestly, it didn't quite live up to the hype for me after experiencing the beauty of Hawaii. I don't have plans to return. It just didn't seem worth it. I feel like LA is overly hyped and not as impressive as some may say. That is just my personal opinion though. Our accommodation in Los Angeles turned out to be quite disgusting. One of the dirtiest bathrooms I've ever showered in. It was an Airbnb with other people renting rooms right by a noisy highway. We couldn't figure out public transport, so we mostly relied on taxis, which surprisingly weren't too expensive given the constant flow of traffic with thousands of cars everywhere. We visited the usual tourist spots like Venice Beach, where we saw those movie famous skateboards, cute shops and cafes along a huge promenade. However, the experience didn't feel as special. It might be a different experience for people who live there and do yoga or play volleyball together with their friends. As a tourist attraction, it was not worth it though. I'm sorry. Walking the Walk of Fame was an eye-opener. The area had a big presence of homeless individuals and likely some drug dealers. The Griffith Observatory was the highlight, offering a stunning panoramic view of all of LA that was genuinely beautiful. On the other hand, the Hollywood sign was a bit of a letdown, in my opinion. It's overrated. It doesn't seem as big in person, and you can't even get close for a proper view. LOL. I'm sorry, I had great expectations for LA, but it didn't quite live up to them. I'm not trying to be negative. This is just my sincere opinion. I spoke with one of my former students and she loved it though. Depends on who you ask. However, I'm glad I had the opportunity to visit this metropolis at least once in my life. It appears we've reached the end of my American summer adventure. The experience has certainly shaped my current opinions, revealing that the reality is more than the stereotypical American dream depicted, shown in movies. It was a worthwhile journey and I'm eager to explore more of this country in the future. To už bude k môjmu americkému letu všetko. Verím, že som ťa aj touto epizódou zabavila a že si všetkému rozumela. Ak aj nie, tak treba určite čeknúť ten transkript. No a daj mi vedieť v anketke pod touto epizódou, či už si aj ty v USA bola, alebo či sa chystáš, prípadne aká bola tvoja skúsenosť. Ak máš nejaké otázky, tak mi určite napíš na Instagram, kde ma nájdeš pod Lektorka Kika. Veľmi rada ti odpoviem na akúkoľvek otázku, ktorú by si mala ohľadne tejto mojej skúsenosti. Tak to už bude odo mňa všetko a do skorého počutia. Bye bye. Ak sa ti dnešná epizóda páčila, daj mi o tom vedieť. Nájdeš ma na webe alebo Instagrame v popise podcastu. Počujeme sa next time.